Hey there, I've been a personal trainer at LA Fitness for 10 months, and I'm going to talk about the most common thing that I see holding people back from building muscle mass. To make things simple, it's skipping the first phase of training. So what this specifically is they have poor biomechanics of their muscles and joints. So for example, they have bad posture, or they're not capable of performing certain compound movements with great form. So for example, there's also multiple different types of bad posture and different types of things you can do wrong on your form with compound movements. So like just cause you're lifting to put on muscle mass, you need to lift heavy and do compound movements. But just because you're doing those things doesn't mean you'll put on muscle mass if your form's not good. So some examples here is when it comes to posture, you got a hunchback here in this thoracic part of the back, so and your shoulders move forward like this. So you're just walking around hunched over like this. The other example here is, maybe this one's more in the lower body. You walk this upper body's good, but the hips come back like this, the chest stays up like this, and you just have an excessive arch here in the lower back. So you just walk around, you're just walking around like this with a huge arch in the back. So those two different types of bad posture, they would need different types of corrective stretching and corrective exercise programs. So this gets into my next point here, is that you need a corrective stretching and corrective exercise program to fix form and bad posture. So when it comes to and you need to do these things before you lift heavy in the compound movements. And yeah, doing those things won't help you put on muscle mass, but they will help you they'll train you for the train. So they'll train you so you can perform those lifts with good form. Then in the long run, you'll be putting on a lot more muscle mass. So yeah, if you want to put on more muscle mass, then next month, just X out of this video and just keep lifting heavy. But if you would rather sacrifice this month to build a lot more muscle mass the next year, then take the corrective exercise and corrective stretching approach. And another example here when it comes to form. So like when it comes to a squat here, when you squat, maybe your knees move in and your feet turn out, and you're squatting like this. And then maybe you got someone else, when they squat, they have an excessive forward lean like this, and their hips fold over, and their spine, they have the lumbar part arches, and the hips fold underneath. Those two different types of people would need two different corrective exercise and corrective stretching training programs. So when you understand this, it starts to kind of make sense why a lot of people struggle upon muscle mass. There's never just a one-size-fits-all thing. Each of us have different individual needs. We all have different biomechanics here. Okay, so let's look at an example here when it comes to the upper body here. So you got one person, when they perform the bench press, or just any type of pushing motion, they get an arch here, and then arch in the lower back here. So for it, basically, it looks like when they push, the head arches like this, and the lower back arches like this. So like, so that's their problem with their form. And then you might have another example. Their back straight, their head straight. The head doesn't. They don't get this extension here or excessive extension here either. But their shoulder blades elevate like this. So when they push forward, their shoulders are shrugging up more. They aren't able to keep the shoulders down like this. So those two different types of people would need two different corrective exercise and corrective stretching training programs. So now here, let's look at and let's go over how this will affect building muscle mass on a specific movement here, okay? So let's say you're doing pull-ups here, okay? So you bring those shoulders down. So when you come here on your pull-up, when you bring the shoulders all down like this and get the chin over the bar, the shoulders are elevating like this, okay? Well, what happens here is it's the lats attached to the humor bone here. So you're moving this attachment point further away here to so it attaches from the humor bone to the hip bone. Okay, so when you shrug the shoulders up like this, you're moving this further away. So you aren't letting them, you need to get those two attachment points closer together to get the muscle to contract through the full range of motion. Just because you take the lift through its full range of motion doesn't mean you're taking the muscle you're trying to target through its full range of motion if you're doing it within proper form here. You need to get those shoulder blades all the way down as the shoulder comes all the way down to get this attachment point closer to here rather than having the shoulders all the way down but the shoulder blades shrugging up, moving this point further away here. So now you aren't training the lats as effectively, which will be holding you back from putting on muscle mass. So you're probably now wondering, how do I fix this? It sounds very complicated here. There's just all these different things. There's like, when it comes to a squat, don't move the knees in, don't turn the feet out, don't lean forward, don't arch the back, don't let the hips fold underneath the spine, and just all those types of things. And so it's like I won't be able to explain this all in one video here, but one approach you could take is hiring a personal trainer. What they can do, if you hire a personal trainer, they can assess you, so they can find out everything that's wrong with your form, your posture, and just the biomechanics of your muscles and joints, and then they can prescribe your corrective exercise and corrective stretching program for the first month. And it usually takes around 1 to 2 months to build that strong foundation. Then once you got once when your biomechanics are correct, you can when you hit those compound movements with heavy weight, you'll be able to put on a lot more muscle mass. So the key of putting on muscle mass is hitting those compound movements with heavy weight. I'm sure you've heard that many times. But if you're doing that on top of a bad foundation, you won't be seeing results. So maybe you're thinking you don't want to spend money on a personal trainer. Well, one thing I could try to do here, which I have been doing on my Instagram, is each video I'll do a video on how to perform an accurate assessment, and then to find accurate results for just your just with struggles on your form and posture. So I'll show you how I assess posture, and I'll show you how to assess form. And then the next thing is I'll be putting out videos on how to fix one thing at a time. So let's say you find out in the assessment that like your shoulders elevate, your feet turn out, and then when you squat, your shoulders elevate when doing pushing and pulling movements, and you have this hunchback in the thoracic part for your posture. So maybe the first 4 videos I put out don't relate to that. They just explain what to do if your knees move in, how to fix those types of things, how to fix like the extension here in pulling movements, and fix how to fix the forward lean and the hips folding underneath the spine when you squat. So they might just, but eventually I'll have the video out to fix your individual needs. And then the plan is you'll be able to find what things you need to do to fix your form and your posture, so you can have better biomechanics, and you can, over all these videos, you'll be able to kind of write out your own corrective exercise and corrective stretching training program, so then you can build that great foundation. And then once you do that, you can start to lift heavy in those compound movements, and you'll start to see great results when it comes to putting on muscle mass. So just let me know in the comments what you think about that idea, and then I'll leave my Instagram link in the description too, because I've been trying to post content, individualized content on corrective exercise and corrective stretching there too. So yeah, just let me know in the comments what you think about that. You can even comment about like what things you feel like you struggle with your form and posture, and I'll try to get back to you and give you some individualized training advice when it comes to corrective exercise and corrective stretching.